Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our NOVAtime session. Today, we will be focusing on posting your holidays. We're going to show you how to create some holidays, how to copy current holidays and use them in the future. I'm going to show you how to post holidays. And if for some reason your organization does not have the holiday posting jobs posting automatically, I'm going to show you how to do that as well. The other thing that I want to go over today is I want to go over the auditing within our system, just making sure that when you create these holidays, you want to make sure that all your employees are assigned to the correct holiday rule. So we're going to focus on the employee info page, and then we're going to focus on a few audit reports that may be helpful for you within your organization. Please note, last night, you should have received the documentation that goes with our session today. Please make sure that you download the PowerPoint presentation. It does have a hyperlink to download a document. So please make sure that you use this as a reference resource. Now, I do want to point out that I did update the slides that were sent from the ones last night to the ones that are in your inbox within the GoToWebinar. So please download that copy. Also, during our session today, if you have any questions, please make sure to drop those in the question inbox. That way, towards the end of our session, we can cover any questions that you may have. All right. So, as I said, this is our agenda for today: creating holidays, adding, copying, posting, and auditing. All right, so we're going to start out with the first thing, which is creating calendars within our NOVAtime system. So the calendar is where, for 2021, for example, this is where if your organization is observing 10 holidays for your US employees, that's where they're going to live. They're going to live under the rules setup holiday rule area. And if your organization has employees in the US, however you have employees in Canada, you would have two separate calendars within our system. So let's log into the system and let me show you where that lives. So we're going to go to the hamburger icon and we're going to go to the rule setup area. So here's your rule setup category. And from here, we're going to navigate over to the holiday rule. And looks like I just got locked out. Let's log in. All right, so we're going to go to the hamburger icon. We're going to go to the rule setup. We're going to navigate to the holiday rule. And then on here, this is where the different calendars live for your organization. For example, I have my US part-time employees. Maybe that particular group of employees, they're eligible for a holiday. However, they do not get paid 8 hours of holiday. They may only get 4 hours of pay, for example. So that's where you would create different calendars for the different types of employees. Or maybe you have a group of employees that are US employees, however, they get 8 hours of holiday. However, you may have another group of employees that work 9-hour days. So this is where you determine those different types of employees. And also there is a distinction between my Canadian and US employees. In Canada, they observe Boxing Day. We don't have that. So depending on the holidays that that group observes, that's why you would create a different holiday calendar. And then I also have a calendar that says no holiday pay. And that is what I'm going to assign to those employees who are seasonal employees. That way, when we run the auto posting, they do not get that on their timesheet and are not paid any holiday time. So let's just click on the first holiday that we have here. And I'm just going to give you a brief overview. This is normally set up by your consultant during the implementation process. But if after the implementation process, you do acquire a different group, I'm just going to give you a brief overview as to how these calendars work. However, at all times, if you're not certain about something, please make sure to contact our support team and they can walk you through the process, okay? So for this example, we're just going to review this holiday rule or calendar. I have my US part-time employees on here. I added a description that way when I'm assigning holidays, I know what this is for. This one here says we pay employees fixed 4 hours. And then the other thing that lives here is the eligibility rules. Maybe your organization's policy is that, hey, in order for you to qualify for holiday pay, you must work the day before, you must work the day after, and then not only that, you must work at least, for example, let's say 30 days within, you know, or sorry. You must have worked at least X number, maybe 3 days within the last pay period. So on here, some organizations will set this up. For example, new hires, we want you to work at least 30 days before, or we want you to have worked X number of hours. So this is where you would define that information. So you would say, all right, within the last month, we need for you to work, 3 days. So this is where that information would live. So this again is normally set up by your consultant, but if you have questions and need assistance, contact support. So that's the properties page. Let me go to the next page. I'm not going to save this. The next thing is for your part-time employees, this is where the holidays live for that group. So this is how you can double check. All right, for this particular group, these are the holidays that they observe. And so you always want to make sure if you have different calendars between your US and Canada, that only those applicable holidays are listed here. And then we do have the proration tool within the user guide that we provided today. You do have further details on that, okay? But this is the calendar. And like I said, you can have different groups and there may be different eligibility rules. And so make sure that only those applicable rules apply. And always make sure that if the holidays between groups change, verify this information. Okay, so that's going to be your holiday calendars. And those calendars, we're going to go into the employees category, employee info page. And on here, we're going to look at our employee, Ashley. And this is where we have the holiday rule assignment. So for this employee, they're assigned to the no holiday pay. So if we look at that rule, we're going to go to the rule setup. We're going to go to list, no pay. There should be no holidays listed for that group. That way, when we have the holiday job run, nothing is populated for that employee. Okay, so employee info, this area here, when you're setting up holidays, is important that you assign the appropriate holiday plans for your employees accordingly. So if you have a Canadian employee, then they would observe the Canadian holiday rule. Okay. All right, so the next part for our training today is we're going to show you, all right, so we have all the calendars built for all our groups. Now we need to create the actual holidays for next year. So where would we go to do that? So we're going to go to the hamburger icon, but this time we're going to go under the company setup. And then from company setup, we're going to go to holiday. And on here, what you can see is that I have all my 2018, 2019, I have a few 2021 holidays, and then there are a few holidays that maybe for my organization for 2021, 2022, they're not going to change, right? So I've created some in advance. Let me go back to page 1. And so on here, here's a list of holidays. And as you can see, we have what we're going to do today is we're going to create New Year's Day for 2021. So we do have one for 2019, but not for this year. So how do we create a new holiday? We're going to click on New. And so as soon as you select that new tab, this Properties tab will open up. And on this page, there are 3 things that you need to do. The first thing is define, all right, New Year's Day 2021. So we're going to click on the calendar and we're going to find that date. So I clicked on this little icon here and I'm going to go into the year 2021 and I'm going to change it to January. And then we're going to locate January 1st. So that's the first thing that you have to do. The next thing that you have to do is name that holiday. So if it was a holiday for just my Canadian employees, you can see on here that I added CAN. If it's a US holiday observed only, then I added US. But if it's both, you can add some sort of description that's going to help you once you're assigning these out. So for this one, New Year's Day 2021, because it applies for both Canadian and US employees. All right, the next thing that I'm going to do, so part 1, selecting the date. Part 2 is adding the description. And then part 3 is letting the system know, all right, when we run that posting job, who is this applicable to? Who is it going to be posted to? So as you can see, these are those calendars that we assign on the employee info page to employees. So on here, it says no holiday pay. So we need to make sure we remove that from right there. All right. So that looks good. That looks good. This looks good. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to save. And so that's how you can create a holiday. Okay, so we're gonna repeat this, but this time around, we're gonna add, let's see, President's Day for February 15th, 2021. So we're gonna click on New. We're gonna click on the month. We're gonna say February. We're gonna click on the year. And we said that the date was on the 15th, okay? So, and on here, we're just gonna say President's Day, and I'm just going to change it to 2021. And on here, I need to decide, all right, are my part-time employees eligible for this? Are my Canadian employees? If they're not eligible for that, we're going to remove that. For sure, we know that the no holiday pay rule, they're not eligible for that. But if the remainder calendars are eligible for that, then we leave those there and we save it. And looks like it already exists. So that's one nice thing about the system. If it already exists, it's going to give you this warning message. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to start new. So what I should have done also is I should have checked my little calendar here. So I can search, I'm going to say 2021. I'm going to filter. And on here, I can see that so far for 2021, I have New Year's Day 2021. I have President's Day. And then I have the Cesar Chavez Day. And then you'll notice that on here, there's a little note that it's only applicable to the San Francisco employees only. So that helps me. So as you can see, these are the other holidays that I have. All right, so looks like I don't have Thanksgiving Day. So let's see, we do have the one for our Canadian employees, but we don't have one for our US employees. So let me cancel this. I'm gonna, all right. So I have shown you how to create a brand new holiday, but the next thing that we're gonna do is we're going to copy a holiday. So the nice thing about copying a holiday is that, for example, let me see, let me click on this holiday here. And let me move this over here. Let me move that over here. Let me save this. All right. So the nice thing about copying a holiday, so we're going to click on copy. And on here, it's going to allow you to see all the holidays that your organization currently observes. So you're going to look for your Thanksgiving holiday. And on here, what you're going to do is once you copy, you'll notice that all you have to do is fill in the holiday day, revise the description, but then the selected calendars automatically copies whatever that rule, whatever was applicable for the previous year. So the new holiday will be exactly the same as the previous holiday, or however it was configured. Okay, so that's the nice thing about the copy feature, that you don't have to go, all right, what calendars was it applicable to last year? Unless anything has changed, then you can go ahead and update this. So for today, we're going to add it for 2021. And Thanksgiving will be on November the 25th. Okay, and then all I have to do is add that description. And again, if there was an update or anything like that, or maybe my part-time employees are now eligible for it, then yeah, you could go ahead and make those changes and save it. And looks like it already exists. So, but again, it's just an example that the copy feature is really nice if you already have you know, your holidays for 2020 and you just need to make minor updates to them. It does save you a lot of time. All right, let me see if Christmas, if I've added Christmas so far into this list. And we're gonna filter, and I don't see Christmas, so let's add Christmas. So we're gonna click on copy, and then on here, let's see, Christmas Day, and this one was for 2018. All right, so we're gonna click on the calendar, 2021. We're gonna click on December. Now, Christmas falls on a Saturday. So, however, if your organization will be observing a Friday, please make sure you update the date to reflect the proper date. So, if for my organization is going to be observed on the 24th, then we're going to change it to that day. And best practices, just to add a little note here for what year that is. And again, if I have minor changes that I need to do to that calendar, then I can move that there. I can save it. If this is also going to be applicable to my Canadian employees, then I can leave that there as well. Save it, and you're done. So that's how that copy feature will work. Now, the next thing that I do want to show you is the posting jobs. So once you have your calendars, once you've created the list of holidays, I do want you to go back to that rules list. And let me see, let's go to these US holidays. Once you've created all your holidays, you've defined them and placed them out here, make sure that all the holidays that you intended for each of the groups, that you audit that and make sure that they've all been saved, right? And then the next thing that we're going to do is, all right, all my holidays have been created, and however, we don't have a job that's automatically posting holidays. So how do I trigger a holiday posting? I'm going to go to the attendance category, and this time I'm going to go to the posting page. And so on here, you will notice that the posting page has a list of different templates. So these different templates allow you to run different posting jobs. We have accruals, we have holidays, we have the recalculation of auto pay for your salaried employees, we have jobs that run for the point system, and so forth. So for today, we're going to only focus on the post-holiday pay hours template. So that's the first thing that you want to do once you arrive to this page. So, and this is only if your consultant has not scheduled this to automatically populate. If it's already scheduled, you don't have to worry about it. But if you're an organization that you want to trigger the holiday for the pay period and you want to do that, then this applies to you. Okay, so we've selected the template. The next thing that we're going to do is select the date range. All right, so when or are we trying to post pay holidays for the pay period that just ended, or are we trying to post for the current pay period? So I know that Veterans Day was on November the 11th. So let's say that we're wanting to post that particular holiday. So we set this up to the current pay period and we validate and make sure that we have the correct start date and the correct end date. So November 1st through November the 14th. Next, we want to apply a filter. Are we going to run this holiday posting job for all our employees? If it's for all employees in your organization, just make sure you don't have any filters and all you have to do is process. And so it's going to run it for all your employees. And as long as they're assigned to the appropriate holiday rule, then if they're part-time, they're going to get 4 hours on their timesheet. If they're full-time, they're going to get those 8 hours, right? Okay, so, but for today's example, I just want to show you how, if you have different locations or if you have different companies and you want to apply a filter, how you would go about doing that. So for today, we're going to go under the location and I'm going to click on my filter. And on here, you can see that I have all these locations. And so today I'm going to decide to populate holiday for our Berkeley, California location. So I've selected Berkeley from the available list. Now I need to move it over to the right where it says selected. We're going to say OK. And so on here, there's this little box that says view. And it allows you to see, all right, how many employees do you have at that Berkeley location? So it looks like I only have my employee, Tanisha, who is a part-time employee. So when I click process this job, I'm going to get a message and it's going to say that the job has started. It gives you the date, it gives you the time, and it's running for one employee. If I click undo, honestly, what that does, it doesn't undo it. It just simply refreshes that message and it tells us that this has completed. So on here it says it's completed. So now if I go into the timesheet, I can go to timesheets by going to the attendance tab. Oh my goodness. I have a brain freeze here. All right, I have attendance and we're gonna go to timesheets. And so on here, we're going to search for our employee, Tanisha. So, and this is just to validate that, hey, we just ran that job and we want to make sure that this posted successfully. So when I look at the period for November the 1st through November the 14th, I see that Veterans Day holiday pay 4 hours populated. If my calendar had said you need to work the day before and the day after, and if this employee did not have any hours on the timesheet, then this would not populate because it goes based on the rules that you've set up right here. So if you say must work the day before and day after, then those rules would apply. But in this case, we don't have that for that employee, but we do have it that part-time employees only get 4 hours. That's why when we look at that timesheet, this employee only received 4 hours of pay, okay? And if for some reason, maybe you know that Tanisha's status changed, and maybe you don't have the employee info page mapped where the employee profile page is being updated automatically, and it's a manual process for you. Please make sure that you run audits on your employees because not all organizations have the information flowing into NOVAtime, and there may be some fields that you have to manually update, and usually is the payrolls. So for that example, like Tanisha, let's say that she did move from part-time to full-time. And if you only see those 4 hours, that's because she was assigned to a part-time role. But if now she's full-time and she's working out of the San Francisco location, then that new rule would apply to her. So I would suggest that when you're running your holiday jobs that you do run an audit just to make sure everyone is set up properly. So another thing that I want to recommend is when you're running your posting jobs to run these two reports. Let me see, we're going to go under reports and we're going to go under the report generator. So the one report that I recommend to run is your, you can run your summary reports. And on here, you can run it by and I would run it in PDF format. Let me see, I would say if holiday is only applicable to your active employees, let me see, use group filters, you can actually filter that by your active employees. If you're wanting to see it by a particular location, you can. Otherwise, I would run it for all your employees. I would run it for the current pay period. How do you want this to sort? If you want this to sort by, hey, for location and then employees, then I would run this report to run like this and so forth. So if you wanted to sort by any of the available rules here, you can. Otherwise, the important thing is we have all your employees, we have this report running by location, you preview that report, and on here, it's gonna give you a listing of, hey, these are the employees. It looks like it dropped my name, but I needed to add that filter at the bottom. But on here, you just see an example that here's the location, and if you had 10 employees at Berkeley, and I need to add that name field, you would be able to see the number of hours that they're getting. So you know exactly how many employees work at different locations, you know their statuses, and you want to make sure that if employees are full-time, that we're seeing that holiday on their timesheet. So when you run those posting jobs, make sure that you audit for that. The other thing that I want to recommend that you run to verify the employee info page, and that's for those clients who there are fields that you have to manually update, that you run the employee profile report that lives under your human resource folder. So that's your profile. I'm going to go to output format. We're going to click on Excel. And then what else do we want? There's one more filter. I only want to see an audit report for my active employees. So those are the 3 filters that I've run. And so let me give you an example of a report that I ran earlier today. So this is what that profile report looks like. So here's my report. Let me apply a filter here really quick. And on here, what I did was, all right, I had some employees that were assigned to this default rule. And so it allows me to look at everyone. I can see the pay policy they're assigned to. I can see, are they full-time? I can see that they're not assigned to the appropriate holiday rule. For example, these employees should be under the US holiday calendar. So I know that I need to go into the system and make those appropriate updates. So again, this report goes beyond just auditing your holiday. It goes through your pay policy, which determines how those timesheets are calculated, right? So please make sure that you run these audit reports. One last thing here that I do want to point out. So those are your 2 audit reports. The summary reports will give you a tally of the holiday hours that have been posted for the period. And then the employee profile just audits the employee info page, and it shows everything as to how your employees are set up. All right. One last thing here that I do want to highlight. We're going to go back to the attendance posting job. And for those of you who currently are doing the holiday posting manually, however, would like to automate that process, this is how you can do it. So here's the posting template. You have the period, but you can set this up under this section here, posting schedules, and you want to run it periodically. And I normally recommend that the job run during the weekend. I normally have it run at 4 a.m. That way when employees come in on Monday, if there is a holiday for that period, it's already reflected on the timesheet. When you set up to run periodically, you set up daily or weekly, and then the date and time, make sure that you select the save button on here. And also, if you want this job to run for all your employees, make sure that you remove those filters, okay? So you saw that it was showing in red because I had a filter in place. So if there are any filters, you want to make sure that you remove those. Let me apply that there. There it is. Okay. All right. So so that is the holiday process. Again, please take advantage and download the handout. I know last night we did send out a PowerPoint slide, We did provide the user guide, but the slides that I uploaded this morning have all this other information in them. And as always, if you have any questions, please contact our support team. They will walk you through the process. A lot of you, this may be the first time that you're creating holidays for next year. So if you're not comfortable, contact our support team and they'll walk you through the process. And then another thing that I wanted to point out is that this recording will be available under our go-to channel. So in the PowerPoint slides, there is a link and there is information as to how you can get that access or the link to get you to that channel. And just want to remind you that all this information for employees, supervisors, admin lives under our online help. We do have new content that has been published for this month. We do have new user guides for the mobile application. And then please sign up for our upcoming webinars. And then always make sure that you sign up for the what's new and what's fixed, because there are enhancements being rolled out every quarter. So please make sure that you sign up for that. And then on here is where our go-to stage channel lives. So this is where today's recording and other recordings will live that speak to the holiday process. So this concludes the NOVAtime holiday calendar training. I know that we went a little over today, but I don't see any questions in the inbox. However, if there are questions that come up after we sign off today, please contact our support team. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. We look forward to having you in our future webinars. Have a happy Friday and happy Thanksgiving, since that's around the corner. All right. Thank you everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.